because patriarchy hurts boys and men too.
Absolutely, 100%.
It hurts. There's a massive shift that's happening.
And they're teaching you how to keep your virginity till your wedding night, but they're not drilling these men like this. And then so you meet these well-drilled, well-trained girls, and then you meet the rascally boys.
If my husband wants food at 2:00 in the morning, I'm like, how are you gonna do that? You have like a meeting with China at this time, and you're still...
Hi guys, welcome to another exciting, riveting episode of OffAir with Gbemi.
And I'm Toolz. Hello.
Okay.
I didn't even say it. Why are you laughing?
Because it was like a pause. I'm like, are you here? Are you here?
Yes, I'm
are you
here.
We're here to talk about the dirty F word. Not that one. Feminism.
Yes. Why is it such a dirty word?
Because people don't understand the concept, or they understand the concept and they are worried about a shift in power. You know who you are. But before we get into that, a quick shout out to our best friends at Jay's Diner.
Jay's Diner. Somebody said, why is Toolz always hungry? You don't know what time it is. I'm hungry. I haven't eaten today. I'm hungry.
We take a long time.
Yes.
Yeah, but yeah, shout out to them for feeding us all the time.
Yes.
We have fan mail and we're going to get into it right after this.
Okay, so we've got mail from you guys, actually. So we're going to do two today. I got this message. Hi, Toolz. Good morning. I'm a 30-year-old guy with a decent job looking for a cute, young Yoruba doctor based abroad, 26 to 29 years old, ready for a serious relationship. If you have any, please let me know. This reminds me of the fan mail that we got 2 weeks ago. The girl that was in the abroad, and there's a guy here. This one, he hasn't said what his job is. He said, I've got a decent job.
What's a decent job?
You're looking for a doctor based abroad.
He didn't just say doctor. He wants a cute, young
Yoruba doctor.
Yoruba doctor. 4 things. Based abroad. 5. 26 to 29. 6. Ready for a serious relationship. 7. Brother, but you only told us 2 things about you. I'm a 30-year-old guy with a decent job. Are you cute? Are you young?
Yes. What kind of job?
Are you Yoruba?
What kind of job do you have?
Are you also a doctor? Are you ready for a serious...
Why a doctor? Why do you think
Because he
a
knows
doctor?
that doctors abroad make a lot of money.
But it's not the only profession that makes a lot of money.
Ole.
I'm just like, so imagine if I was like, okay, sure, let me put this out, and somebody would be like, oh, Toolz has vetted the guy. I wouldn't, no.
But you know what? There are so many people who are always looking for partners, right? They're looking to settle down and everything. Should we have like a whole, I don't know, how do we do? Do we have like a whole episode where you send in like a little thing and say, oh, I'm Paul, I'm 28, I'd like to settle down soon. I'm a pharmacist and I'm looking for someone based in Lagos or something like that. Do you understand? So give a little info about yourself and give a little info. Yeah. I know that you can't write it.
Is OffAir doing
Woke up like prostitution, but looking for people who are trying to
like-minded people.
Yeah, and if you also don't want a serious relationship, nobody's going to stone you for it. You can also say, I'm looking for a friend with benefits. My name is Inchideka, and this one, and I need the person.
I thought you said something else. I thought you said something dick. I'm sorry. I was like, okay, maybe I'm hearing things.
Okay, but yeah. So should we do that? Should I send us DMs?
You know what? If you guys are interested, if you think that would work, we can try it. We can give it a go. We care about you guys. We care about you. So if you would want us to do it's obviously not hookup, like an introduction kind of dating. Why are you laughing? They're not going to take us seriously. You're not.
Mommy Gio over there is judging me.
Mommy Gio, Seth. We can find somebody for you.
The moment I said that in case maybe you don't want a serious relationship and you want a friendly benefit, she was like, you are going to Hades. That's
I think it's very, very important to be honest about what you want. I think one of the worst things you can do is waste somebody's time if you know they don't want something and you're trying to package yourself as
tell that to men. Men think that if they lie to women that they want commitment and they will get some pum pum. Is not true. Some women want to give you what you want. Just tell the truth.
Yeah, just
right.
The truth.
And why are you looking down? Right.
True.
Good. Okay.
I mean, that's true. That was like a bit, But yeah, if you would like us to do that, either send us a DM or send us an email saying, I think it's a great idea, you know, maybe what you're looking for. And the good thing is, well, are we going to try and vet people? Are we going to do that?
That's none of my business, oh. That's none of my business. You cast out your fishing net through us. Whatever your net catches, good luck to you. It's between you and your maker. Because I don't have things to do. Oh, are you not busy?
You don't want to help a little bit?
I've helped you. But so you now need to go and narrow down.
I want to make sure that it's, you know, decent people that are using our services.
So how are you going to do that, Inspector Gadgets?
I don't know. We'll just, you know, do a little bit of research or whatever.
I'm not doing
But you know what? This is what we are going to do. If we don't do research, if we find out that you're lying or packaging, we'll actually air you. We will air you.
Well, call out your name and your Sunday.
I think it's fair. I'm very worried about like matchmaking because I get so like invested. I tried to hook up my friend with somebody. I think it was like around my wedding. And then the guy just kind of turned funny and she kept asking me and I was just like, I don't know why he did that. I don't know. So it was a little bit stressful. But yes, if you are interested, let us know. All right, let's move on to the next fan mail.
We have another fan mail. This lady said we should keep her anonymous. She says she made friends with a new person, African but not Nigerian, recently. She said we got on really well, but I started noticing a few things that made me pause. Tipping point for me was when she shared that she has been in a relationship with a married Nigerian man who has young children for several years, more like 5 years. She told me she has cut off friends because she doesn't want to hear anyone's mouth. She knew he was married when things started. She talks about him nonstop. She claims he is now separated and is planning to move here to be with her. Yet no divorce proceeding or anything of that nature has even started. I told her it is giving mistress vibes, and Nigerian men don't often leave their wives for their mistresses. I have put distance between us, but she keeps asking when I'm coming to hang. Should I tell her? Hold on, I'm trying to get to the next page. She says, should I tell her? She talks about says she keeps asking when I'm coming to hang. Should I tell her I'm not comfy with her anymore or just move in silence? By all means, you can, you know, kindly, you don't have to be harsh about it. Say, I'm not comfortable with this, your relationship, and I don't want to be influenced or whatever it is, and that just give you a space. I mean, I feel like look, I don't believe in ghosting people. If you feel that you cannot be friends with people anymore and they keep asking, if they don't look for you, it's okay. But if they keep asking, you just be like, look, there's something you are doing that I'm not comfortable with, you know? And yeah, that's that. So yeah.
Have you ever had, this is a random question. Have you ever had somebody make friends with you because they started dating a Nigerian guy?
No.
I've had that. Yeah. Somebody literally became my friend because it was like, oh, you're Nigerian. I'm dating a Nigerian guy. And I'm like, okay. And she'd ask me questions. I'm like, you realize that not every Nigerian guy is the same. You know?
Yeah.
And if you're one of these people that you've been watching social media and you're thinking, oh, Nigerian guys are this, just Nigerian guys can be fantastic, but just be prepared because there's some that will spike your blood pressure. So just know that
they're not a monolith. The same way all Nigerian women are not the same, the same way all Americans are not the same, you know, so just know that there are different types of Nigerian men or women or whatever it is. I will say this though, because it's funny, I had this same conversation over the weekend with a close family member, and she said that she cut off her friend because her friend was dating a married man, and that's something she doesn't stand for, and she was just like, she cut her off, like she cussed her out first and told her, I don't mess with this, I don't do this, and you cannot be my friend anymore until today they don't speak.
I don't even think I'm not comfortable with my friends even dating somebody that is like just separated.
Not fully divorced.
I don't like it. I think it's very, and so these are my issues. If you're dating somebody that's like just freshly separated, if you're dating somebody that literally has like a newborn, like a few months, I think it's messy. And if you're dating somebody that's freshly separated, there's a good chance that when you guys go public, a lot of people are going to be like, this person's the reason. I don't like unnecessary drama.
She doesn't like Daliru. She doesn't like, it's just what Daliru means, like people who break up families and stuff like that. I mean,
there's
Does it only apply when it's a married couple? Do you know what I mean?
As in if they're just dating.
If they're just dating.
I just think it's unnecessary just to. I was going to say something, but you guys have said I should.
No, who said what? Did anybody say anything?
No, people have been
saying.
Feel
free, speak your mind.
Even Bobby said that.
You want us to beg you, Abby?
Okay, I'm trying to. There's somebody that I kind of know them from afar. I don't know if you know them, but this person is notorious for going off. Like, she cannot date a man that is single.
Hey, who is this?
Yeah,
Initial.
but she's mad, so I can't mention her name. But she cannot like.
Cover your
Excuse
mouth.
my French, but it's like she has to, it has to be, oh, you're dating this person, you're having, okay, that's the one I want. It's weird because the last like sort of 2-3 people that, she has dated that's been like in the press and everything, I'm just like, this person, do you know who I'm talking about?
Actress.
No. Don't worry. There's a good. You might not. I know her from afar. You might not know the person. Sorry, guys. I'm not. See. You know what? All the people that are like, no, say the name. See, you're not going to be the one that's involved in the back and forth. It's not even the beating, because I mean, come on. But it's the. There's certain fights that I can't have because I'm just like, I don't know how to talk to you. So
she's like, I'm not on your level.
I don't know. I just don't know how to talk to you. So I don't do those, fights and everything. So I'm not mentioning her name. But yeah. So if that is you, there's a problem. It's almost like she sees something.
It's like a challenge to her.
Yes. Or she sees like, oh, I like the way he's treating her. I like
she'll now find her way in between.
She cannot.
I think that's a self-esteem issue.
Yeah.
I think if you're constantly going after, or maybe you're not even going after, but you find yourself attracted to or always involved with people who are in relationships, whether it's relationships or marriage, and this applies to both men and women. So we're not just we're not good. It's a self-esteem issue. Yeah. Why not find your own?
It's almost like they get joy out of, he picked me over her.
Why are you the side chick biscuit? Why are you the side dish? Why are you the extra? Why? It's just, do you understand? Like, it's just like people eat rice and chicken, body dodo. You are the side every time. Can't you be the full meal? Don't you believe in yourself?
It's not
I'm
attractive.
just saying.
Anyways, I'll tell you about it later. All right. So I've been good. Should I just give you guys a little swear word so you can charge me? I have money now. I just go on alerts like this.
Fuck that shit. Give us.
You know what? It doesn't mean both of us. Actually, you know what? Gbemi is going to be, I'm good. I'm changed. Where's your card?
It's because I want to.
Where's your?
Please bring my wallet. It's because I want to give to the pot. How much?
What did you say?
I want to give to the pot.
No, but what did you watch? Which swear word did you use?
Get out. So you want me to do it again? Do you think you're fooling? You're not serious.
Please bring Gbemi's cards. Let's and
Lord,
we need to figure out how we're gonna like reward our
How are we gonna pick the person to get it?
I don't know. We should ask them questions about episodes and just see who actually is a loyal watcher.
We should do it.
I feel good.
And we should not give them time to go and research it. No, we should do like a live or something.
We should or give them like even if we gave them like 30 minutes, they won't be able to, So how much am I? Give me your card.
What do you mean by how much? You know 10K we used to do that time. Please. What do you mean?
Things have changed though. Dollar to loss, okay.
Don't let me call you.
Okay.
F for 10K. D for 10K.
That's 40. That's 40K. She said the S word as well, right?
Yes.
You know
it
what?
was a cursing phrase. It goes together like rice and stew.
You know
what do you mean?
It's supposed to be like about 150, but Jashini 100.
Are you okay?
Jashini 100.
My friend, put 10,000 there. Do we have a lot to talk about, please.
Okay. All right.
Here you go. Yeah. Okay. It's your card. It never has paper because you're always out of paper.
Don't worry about paper.
That's gone.
It's money point. You're gonna get your debit alert like instantly. So don't worry about it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Raising money for charity. The charity is gonna be my wardrobe.
See, you're not serious.
Okay, so it is now time to speak to our special guest. She is Blessing Omakwu. She is the founder of the She Tank, and she is also a gender equality evangelist, amongst many, many, many other things.
Yes.
All right, make her feel welcome, guys.
Thanks for having me. Thank you so much for having me.
I've heard very good things. I've heard also still she's a boss. She's doing this. She's doing
Thank
that.
you,
So
thank you,
welcome.
thank you.
Can you briefly tell us what the She Tank is about?
Sure. So the She Tank is an expression of the work I've been doing for a long time. I have worked in the gender equality space most of my career in different ways. I started out as a lawyer, did work in women's rights, worked in policy, worked in the NGO space for a while. And what I began to realize doing my work in philanthropy, development, worked at the Gates Foundation and other organizations like that for a long time, is you cannot create change without thinking about culture. So people after a long day when they've had like worked and everything, they're not going to go home and read a policy report. They're not going to go home and read the data that we've spent all this time collating, but they'll watch TV. They'll listen to a podcast. They'll scroll social media. And so the She Tank is a culture lab. And we call it a culture lab because we think of ways to move culture, media, entertainment, content, campaigns. We test different approaches. What does it look like to really move culture in the direction of women's power? And we have a creative studio as well where we put out different types of content. Our first project on the continent was the Her Money, Her Power campaign last year,
That was
which we did
everywhere.
It was everywhere.
Yes. And really proud of it. Did that with Bella Naija, our partner on the continent. And the goal of that was how do we shift conversations around women and money? And so we've been testing different things right now, working on religion and also on masculinities. Yes, religion.
Yes.
Religion, yes. So I call myself a gender equality evangelist because my parents are pastors. My dad is late now, but my parents were both pastors, and the expectation was that I would be in ministry as well. And that was the expectation everyone had from me. Grew up in religion, went to college at a Christian university in America, all the things. But for me, this is my ministry. So gender work is my evangelism. And for me, the gospel is that we should all be human and free.
Okay, so how do we even start this? So the episode, of course, is called Dirty or the Bad F Word, Feminism. And in our previous discussions, you believe that Jesus is a feminist.
Yes.
Are you ready?
Bro.
Are you ready?
You know, Tiger Jen. You know the way they pull small.
So I didn't know that feminism
was a hot topic.
was such like it's like a
word.
scarlet red on your chest in Nigeria now. I mean, I know there have always been the feminist debates about who washes plates and they're very boring actually. But like now even women, I think, distance themselves and say, I'm not a feminist. And at the core of it, feminism is just this. It's the belief that women and men are equal, that we should have equal opportunities. Yeah. That's it. Now, just like we can have Christians who do things that you don't think are Christian, we have different types of Christians, people who don't practice the faith. You can
people
have
that are not kind.
That are not kind. Yeah. Like the word Christian means that you believe in Christ. Now, how you live your life, what you believe, that can look different because people are human. And that's the same thing with feminism. Feminism believes at its core that men and women, people of all genders, should have equal opportunities. Now, what that expression looks like could be different. There are many feminists that I may not agree with on many things. Like I don't agree with all feminists on every topic. And there are many feminists who actually don't agree with me because they believe, how can you be feminist and Christian? Like religion should not be part of this conversation. So I think people need to open their minds to this is the base, but actually there are different expressions of what this means, but this is the base.
Yeah.
I do remember a while ago, Chimamanda said something along the lines of certain people, actually I believe she said women, basically being mean, and I'm trying to remember exactly what she said, but it was just basically talking about how certain people have taken this whole feminism thing on a different tangent.
Absolutely.
So I think that because I think about it, and I'm a feminist, and my understanding of feminism is just believing that women should have choices. And if you, it really just baffles me when I'm speaking to somebody and they're like, I'm not feminist. I'm like, no, okay, what you're doing as a career, the fact that you were able to choose to do that should mean that you support feminism. But I think, unfortunately, there have been some, very vocal people that have turned the whole feminism conversation into you hate men. Like, for example, if I say, I'm a feminist, but I cook at home. You're not a true feminist.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
actually,
Yeah.
what are the connotations with feminism in Nigeria? Like when people hear it, they hear that you hate men.
It is now a slur.
Yeah.
Especially
Slur.
on social media platforms like Twitter, for example. So once somebody calls you, you're one of those Twitter feminists, it's like all those girls on who don't like men or who want men to all die or who all like
who feel
just
that men should
basically-
be removed from our world.
Yeah, and I think that it stems from two things. Some people who don't fully understand what feminism means or what it stands for, what the movement stands for, and some people who are afraid that if women have the same options that they have, they will not be in, what's the word I'm looking for? They will not continue to be the I don't know.
It's
a loss of
basically
privilege.
challenging their power.
It's
They're
a
like
loss.
challenging their power
Yeah,
as well.
exactly.
It's a loss
And
of
then
privilege.
woe betide you if you're trying to add feminism and religion and you're trying to say that actually you can be religious and also be a feminist. If you say that online, if you want them to tie you to a stake and burn you,
burn me at the
say that.
stake.
So
Exactly.
break it down because the interesting thing about, the Bible and other religious texts is I think people need to understand that it was written at this particular time. So things were different. So what is your view on feminism and theology, for example?
No, and I'm glad that you've kind of broken down this whole idea that people think it's about women hating men, because what's interesting is my entire feministic ideology belief beginning started with my father. I am a feminist because of my father in many ways, my father and my mother, but I'll say the starting point was my father. I was raised by a father who, he saw me. He was emotionally present. In fact, things like provision were like the least of the things I associated with my father, because my mother was the one who managed money in the house. I don't know, like who made the money was irrelevant because they were partners and they built the ministry together. But like my mom managed the money. My father he took us to school. He would help pack our lunch boxes. He came to PTA meetings. He would talk to me about like what my dreams were. In my mind, there was no thing as a child growing up. There was no delineation between being boy or girl. Like that was irrelevant beyond the biological differences, of course. My first exposure to the idea of gender was when my father got sick. So we were in Nigeria. My father got sick. All the traditional things around, your wife is trying to kill you, I remember the first time people from his village, which, by the way, my father, he was from Benue State, but was born and raised in Kaduna. So I grew up knowing Kaduna as home. But all these people came from his quote unquote village to attack my mom and to say all kinds of things. And I remember my aunt saying, I wish you were a boy. Because if you were a boy, you would, as the first child, you would have had a say in this. And that was like, what?
Yeah.
And that was when I began to study like women's rights and just seeing like what happened, after he passed. So they had built this church together. And in my mind, my mom was going to take over running the church because they had built this from scratch. I had seen them saving money for the drums when we were in the US. They were both studying in the US theology, etc. I had seen them build this thing from scratch. And seeing the fact that like my mom, there was this conversation around why would a woman be a pastor? And it comes back to what you were saying around when people talk about equality and feminism, what they're most scared of is the loss of privilege.
Yeah.
Because the privilege is that as a man, you automatically have the leadership position. People are comfortable with a woman being the pastor's wife, being the first lady, but not having that leadership position. And so that led for me it just unearthed a whole path of study. And I began to study the Bible and to study theology and to understand like what does the Bible really say about women. And I'll fast forward, but I've come to a place where I really believe that Jesus in many ways promoted equality, that many of us who claim to be Christians actually are not reading the Bible and not following the example of Christ. Jesus' longest conversation in the Bible, so the longest conversation that Jesus had in the Bible was with a woman. He saw women intellectually. There's that scripture that we talk about, Mary and Martha in the kitchen, where Martha was cooking and I'm mixing up Martha and Mary now. And one sister comes to report to Jesus, well, she's not in the kitchen helping me. And he says, well, your sister has chosen what was better. And that was at a time when women were not even supposed to have the space to be educated, to speak. Jesus, before slut shaming was even a word, shut down slut shaming. He said, let you who is without sin cast the first stone. So it's been an interesting path of study for me, but my faith and my feminism, there is no distinction between those things. I am a feminist because of my faith, and my faith does support my feminism.
Do you find that you mentioned privilege, but I also think that power comes into this, because if you think about it, there's certain we're not bashing men, but there's certain men that think, okay, feminism, if we're to allow feminism to prevail, that challenges my power as a man, because there's certain men that there's nothing you can tell them. They will always believe that a woman should be down there and they should be, sort of up there, no matter how intelligent, how, powerful, how, whatever she is. But do you also think that religious texts like the Bible, are people able to twist the words and basically, create their own agenda? Yeah. Because one of the most, popular verses in the Bible is the, submission.
Let's talk about submission.
Submission, and the fact that people tend to forget the second part of it. Yeah. The second part for a long time is when I read it, I was like, why don't people talk about the second part? Why is it like it's just submit to your husband, submit. And then you read the second part and you're like, oh, I understand. Yeah. But even religious leaders forget that second part.
I mean, I'm so glad that you mentioned power, because I think that is the entire debate. Yeah. When I started my career doing women's rights, I realized pretty quickly people are not really bothered with saying girls should go to school, or, women should be able to have lives free of violence. Practice different, but at least an idea, rights, not controversial. And then I progressed to doing this equality work, which I think is a little bit distinct from rights, because it's an evolution. It's about power. And what I realized is people are okay with what I say is empowerment, which is we're okay with saying a woman can have a job, but power, does she have a voice in that job? That's a whole different thing. And religion is used to promote these views, because again, people are scared of, you've had this entire life where you've been told who you are is just being a man gives you enough say, gives you power. And the Bible, quote unquote, has been used to support that, and you feel like it's being taken away from you. But even the verses around submission. So I've designed a gender equality theology framework, which is part of the work that we're doing at the She Tank. We have a workbook coming out soon and workshops that we ran in different cities. And we have an entire module on Paul. Because Paul, I say, is the person who has been used to promote patriarchy more than probably any historical figure in so many ways. The verses on submission, the man is the head of the home, etc. And there are a few things that I think are important to know about Paul. I think thing number one is Paul was most invested in the spread of Christianity. He was thinking about Christianity at a time when the Roman Empire had control. This was a new religion. It was very dangerous and controversial to be building this new religion. He wasn't there to disrupt the status quo so much. So there are verses where he says, if you are a slave, I urge you to stay in the position that you are in. Because in his mind, Christ was coming any moment now, which is why he was even against marriage. In some ways, he said, don't get married, but if you can't hold yourself, better to get married than to burn, etc. But even in the scriptures, he's pushing in subtle ways. So he says, submit to each other, which for that time was controversial. And in Galatians, she says there's neither male nor female, Jew nor Greek in the kingdom of God. So always he was pointing to equality. In the kingdom of heaven, there is equality. Here is what exists now. But even in what exists now, how do we push things a little further? And I always ask people, Paul talked about slavery. So if you look at every scripture, there are about 3 scriptures where Paul talks about submission, either before it or after it. He talks about slavery. And the Bible, we have it in chapters and verses now, but the Bible was often like, those books were one long letter. So Ephesians was one long letter. So it's the same letter. And he talks about slaves respect your masters. Christianity has now evolved past slavery being acceptable. There's no Christian who will say, oh, I think slavery is okay. But Paul's verses were used to promote slavery. So my question is always, why are we able to proceed past slavery as a faith, but not patriarchy?
Yeah. There's so many different, I think also when reading the Bible, I think it's all about context and when it was written. I think that's it, because there's certain things. It's very interesting when you have people that are like, they live and breathe certain verses, like, man is the head and this. And then the Bible also talks about, adultery. It talks about all these different things. So I think what happens sometimes is people pick and choose. This works for me. This doesn't work for me.
Cherry
Do
pick.
you understand? But I want to ask your opinion on this. So we've talked about feminism and, essentially men. But what I don't fully understand is, and this, I mean, I don't know how much time you spend in Nigeria, right now, but there are a lot of women that are against feminism. What are your thoughts on that? Because
so I have a friend who said women are patriarchy's strongest foot soldiers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Patriarchy princesses, like we call them, yeah.
Because many women actually are the ones who raise sons. Because when we look at men, we're like, who raised this man who behaves in XYZ way? It's most likely a woman that raised that man. I think it comes back to privilege. I think many women benefit from patriarchy in certain ways, especially women of a certain socioeconomic group. So if you think about women who marry wealthy men, for example, patriarchy tells you, well, he's the provider, that's his role, and this is your role. And I think for many women who have had to suffer and whatever the case may be, that framework makes sense. So it's like, don't disrupt my comfort, especially now in like the soft life era, all of that, etc. And like we talked about with her money, her power, there are dangers to not having your own financial power. But if you look at low income households in Nigeria, so one of our partners, they're called we are GST on Instagram. Their data shows that about in 70% of households, low income households in Nigeria, women are actually breadwinners. So this whole model doesn't even work across socioeconomic groups at all. But I think there's also a complete misunderstanding of the harm that is happening to all of us, men included. So part of the work that we're actually doing at the She Tank is around masculinity, because patriarchy hurts boys and men too.
Absolutely, 100%.
It hurts. There's a massive shift that's happening globally. The other day, a cousin of mine graduated from, I think, Covenant University, and she's first class. And we were having a chat in our WhatsApp group, my family WhatsApp group, about how almost all the people who won awards in the departments were women. And mom was saying, what's going on? Where are the men? And I was like, well, this is actually a global thing. So if you look at education around the world, not just in Nigeria or even Africa, the US, the UK, early education, secondary school, university, women are outnumbering men. Women are outperforming men. Same thing with education. Women are earning more than men. So in the US, for example, between 1979, I believe, and 2019, the salaries for men, like the median wage for men has declined by 3%. But for women, it has gone up by 29%.
Oh, wow.
And I'm sure in your own circles, you see women who are becoming empowered. And I think patriarchy tells us that a man's role is just this. You are a provider. So then what do you do when you're not the provider? And that's leading to a crisis. But that is the reality for so many people. And I think we're now in a world where boys are falling behind because they don't know what to do in this whole new world. And then also scripts are being rewritten and culture is not catching up. So it's putting all of us in a cage. I feel like men are being put in a cage. I feel like women are being put in a cage, and we're not really sitting down to talk about the world is changing. What do we do?
And let me bring it home down to things like commercials. Let me think of your FMCGs, your cubes. The seasoning cubes you use. Is a particular brand that is guilty of this. Every time they promote their seasonings and their cubes, it's always the women in the kitchen delighted to
Wait,
cook
do they
this
still have those
big,
ads?
Oh yes, there's a particular brand, I said, to cook this big feast, and she's like, oh, and I'm just like, sometimes I hiss when I'm cooking. This is not real.
Because there are women who don't like to cook.
I don't like it.
And there are men who love to cook.
And there's detergents, ads, and the women are, la, 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 la. Nobody sings. Well, let me not say nobody sings, but nobody is that happy to be washing clothes, hand washing clothes for that matter. There's some cases like that. And it doesn't speak for everyone. This issue of being the patriarchy pushes this whole a man is a provider, a man is provider, a man is provider. In today's economy, in this Tinubu economy, possible. Unless you are one of the 1% of the 1%, you are one of the 4 or 5 names that people mention when they're mentioning billionaires, you will die.
1,000%.
If you want to be the sole provider, okay? And this is where you know, we talk about women are also providing, they're stepping up to provide. And this is why we have, I know you called it boring, but we have these conversations, especially on Twitter, where it's like, you want the babe to do 50-50 bills with you, but you also want her to cook all the meals and take care of the children. Could it work? You know? So, so this is where, and this is why they're always arguing, and they're always arguing again because, and we still need to have these conversations because every other day when you open the newspapers, your Guardian, Vanguard, whatever it is that is still, you know, circulating today, women are being killed because of too much salt or the eba was too hot. People are literally offing their spouses because of food. And so these are conversations that still need to happen. And I know that people try to avoid Twitter. It is my favorite app.
You're still on Twitter?
I love.
Oh my God.
But nothing is so dead.
No, what you need to do, you curate your timeline.
Twitter's a scary place.
People, once you see people fooling, blocked.
So does it still show you people that you follow?
Oh yeah, so you can curate it that way.
See, but to be honest, since Musk came into Elon Musk, things have changed.
That's when I stopped.
Things have changed.
It's not what it used to be.
I know.
So
I have my people that I follow.
Yeah, so there's certain things that I'm just like, why is this on my page? Why am I seeing this?
Absolutely.
So one of the things, just, you know, from what you said, one of the things that's very interesting is, and you know what, I'm going to ask like our viewers to do this. When I ask most of my male friends, especially the ones that are not married, I ask them, would you marry somebody that isn't working, doesn't have a job, and you're expected to look after the person? I would say that 99% of them say no.
Because it's not feasible.
Do you know? So I'm just like,
realistic.
okay, so the school fees, everything, even down to I need to buy salt. Everything's going to be on your head. You don't want that. But then again, you kind of have to like update your mentality and everything. Speaking of that, you are, of course, I didn't even mean to do that.
I was like, that was pretty smooth. That was pretty smooth.
Not just a pretty face. All right. So you are, of course, also here to talk about mentality. It is a podcast that features two people that we know very well.
Yes, I've been working with your husband.
Yes. Ibuka and Banky.
Yes.
So this is very interesting. Tell us why you felt it was very necessary to put this podcast together. And you know, they've been saying that there should be no more men with podcasts.
No, but when she answers, I have something to say.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to hear, but I think to answer your question and going back to what you said, these conversations are not net neutral in that their results, their impacts. We're seeing violence. We're seeing even in Nigeria, girls being killed across campuses. Of course, gender-based violence has been there. And a lot of that is coming from, there's this frustration around roles changing. I'm sure you watched Adolescence on Netflix.
Don't get me. That was, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but that was difficult to watch because I have two boys.
Exactly.
I have two boys. And, you know, you kind of think that, well, I'm doing my part. I'm raising them, you know, to think, you know, differently, to not feel that like this is a woman's role. My kids come into the kitchen. They're like, oh, let me help you do this. And I'm like, sure. But then I actually also realized that I could be doing my part, but kids of these days, they have internet. So much access to the internet. So as much as I could be doing my part, my son could be watching Andrew Tate and thinking this is gospel.
Yes.
And that terrified me. That actually, so when I watched Adolescence, I was like, I'm not doing enough. Yeah. So as you said, you know, when both of you are talking about Twitter, I'm very much like, okay, I'm going to ignore that. I don't really care about that. That doesn't, but when you have, you know, an underdeveloped, you know, still growing mind, they don't know what to like, you know, switch off and switch on. So I was just like, oh my gosh, I have a lot of work to do. I have to teach them about rejection. I have to teach them about this. And it just was scary. Yeah. It was scary because if you're not there making sure that, you know exactly what your child, this is, you know, whether it's a, you know, son or a daughter, if you're not there to make sure you know exactly what they're consuming, somebody else will teach them.
1000%.
That scared me.
1000%. So this is exactly why it was important for me to be a part of contributing to a different conversation because people like Andrew Tate are dominating the waves, but not just globally. Even in Nigeria, there's a rising incel culture. There's a really great article that the Republic put out this year around the Nigerian manosphere that I think is fantastic, of just this kind of thought, this kind of ideology is growing on the continent and around the world, but we need to be having different conversations. And I think, like I said before, patriarchy hurts men and boys too. These outdated norms put men in a cage. what would it look like for men to have conversations? And so partnered with EME, the She Tank, as I mentioned, we incubate different ideas. And we partnered with EME for this pilot season to develop a show called Mentality. So that was really smooth. Mentality with Ebuka. And Ebuka is the host of the show. We've also had Banky W join this first season. And it's a show for just men. So all the guests are men talking about what it means to be a man in Nigeria today and the world today. They tackle everything from friendship to fatherhood. There's a lot of discourse about money, because I think money is so central to all of this. But religion comes up as well across the different episodes. You know, what does religion say? And look, I wanted to create a space that felt safe for men. And so I don't agree with every single thing that was said, but I think what's important is the conversation starting.
Thank you.
And I was pleasantly surprised by the questions that were asked, by some of the things that came up, things that I thought would not even be relevant to me as a woman, like the fatherhood episode. I resonated with so much. It was such a good episode. So I think women will enjoy this show. I think women should definitely watch these shows, because we don't know what men think a lot of times. We don't know what men think.
I was actually going to ask you if the podcast, if it covered mental health.
It does.
Because that's something that I see is an ongoing struggle. Like I think in the last few years, you know, I just felt that the rates of, you know, like suicides and everything is definitely increased in Nigeria. And I'm just like, this is somebody that maybe if they'd had somebody to talk to, maybe they if they didn't feel like the whole world was like, you know, sort of, you know, caving and especially like if the person, if it's a man that has like a family, who does he talk to when things are bad, when he's having, you know, when like the business has failed, and when this, you know, all the money you've invested, this project has failed, who do you talk to? Where do you go? How do you kind of just, you know,
especially because being
calm?
a strong man, we've been taught, means that you don't tell anyone what's going on, that you're supposed to keep it inside, that you're not supposed to show your emotions. So this comes up, it comes up on the money episode, it comes up on different episodes where some of the men talk about the pressures that they face. And they all have different perspectives around, you know, who should you be talking to? Should you be talking to your friends? Should you talk to therapists? Like very funny conversations too. So it's not just serious. It's like funny and humorous. And there are parts of it that have levity and parts of it that have depth. And for me, it was just nice to see men actually having a conversation, which I think is like the starting point.
You know, I want to say thank you for that, because I remember discussing this with my husband and my male friends who I feel are reasonable, because I've been pushing them to say, start something, because you have to speak. A lot of men that I know are not thinking this way, and it's not helping. You know, from growing up as the only girl, I have two brothers, and seeing the way I was raised and the way my brothers were raised was totally different. I remember, I think I was 9 and my brothers were 6 and 3 or 10. I can't remember what age, but we're really young. And my mom would drag me to the kitchen from the moment I was like 7. Come and learn how to cook rice. Come and learn how to cook this. Because you know, when you enter your husband's house, and they never said that to my brothers. And I was very upset. I was 10, but I didn't even know what feminism was. And I remember my brother, I'd be in the kitchen sweating with my mother and they're upstairs playing Nintendo. So what I did one day, out of annoyance, I went and unplugged it. So I was like, you come and join. We're all going to eat this food. So why are you not in the kitchen? Even if it's duster, dust something. We cannot. We're all going to eat. It does them a
disservice too, because think about all the men who don't have basic survival skills.
They don't. And I'm just,
they
you know,
don't
my
have
mom
basic
was like,
survival skills.
My mom didn't know what to do. And she was like, no, you don't. And I was just like, no, like, why do they get to chill? And I'm in the kitchen sweating with you and we're coughing at the pepper. Like, so things like that. And I remember that, even just now bring it to, and then when you are little, they're telling you, you break a plate and this is how you're going to act in your husband's house. But nobody says that how you're going to act in your wife's house. And you know, so many different things. I remember trying to choose a career. I had just graduated uni, came back to Nigeria. Long story, but my dad I was like, oh, maybe I should go for a master's in international relations, and then I could work at the UN. And they said to me, their biggest worry was, what about when you have children? What about your husband? And I was like, you are thinking about a husband when I don't even have a boyfriend. Why are you thinking about him? What about me and what I want to do? I said, would you ask my brothers this? and they didn't have anything to say. And so it's also, there's different things. So it's women can scream till they're blue in the face about these things, but you also have to, and I'm happy that also Ebuka is the host, and not just because we've been friends, but he's also one of the more reasonable people that we know. No, let's be honest.
That's actually, that's the same word I was thinking. I was like, yes, reasonable.
And you don't have to agree with every single, like, people don't always agree with everything we say on this show, whether in jest or whether we're serious. But do you understand? It's okay. And I just think that somebody needs to talk to the men, because from day one as a girl in Nigeria, you are being drilled about this imaginary husband's house. They are teaching you to cook different delicacies, and they are teaching you how to keep your virginity to your wedding night, but they're not drilling these men like this. And then so you meet these well-drilled, well-trained girls, and then you meet the rascally boys, and then you expect them to get along. How is that going to work? And so it's like, somebody needs to talk to the men. And I always say to my male friends, you need to build your community of friends. Okay, you cannot, because girls or women, I would say, apart from our husband or your boyfriend or your family, we also have your community. You have your village. You have your girls that you run to. You have your girls that you go out. But you people have these surface friendships where you don't even know the guy's surname. Just Baba, that's Baba. What's his surname?
Boss.
Where is he from?
Transactional.
What's his state of origin? Do they have madness in their family? You don't know these things. Like, so how are you? And then so you need to. They need to talk to their friends more. They need to talk to themselves more. And I hear that men listen to men more. So I'm very happy that this podcast is happening.
Yeah, I think there's work for all genders to do. So I think you mentioned earlier how many men want submissive providers, right?
Thank you.
Women who are submissive with providing. I also see many women who want the benefits of equality, but also the benefits of patriarchy.
Sorry, what you just said, submissive
providers.
Oh gosh, that just hit and because the amount of times I've seen, like, social media is fantastic, but sometimes I see things that I'm like, I could pour bleach in my eyes to make sure I never see that again. Where you have like the couple sitting there and the woman is like, oh, when I make my money, I just give everything to him because, and I'm just like.
Yes, that's come up in our data a lot. People saying that they put their land and different things in their husband's name.
Do it. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Her money, her power. We must have economic power as women. We must all have economic power.
So I just find it very confusing sometimes. I think I'm still trying to understand the mentality, because you have, I think you gave the statistics that about 70 in Nigerian households, about 70% of the women are breadwinners.
In low-income households.
Low income
households. So, I mean, how can you be in that situation and be against feminism? How can you be in that situation and believe that, women should, because it's a woman that's making sure that everything in the house is,
They don't want you to have power. And then you see situations where you, like you said, you're on social media, and the way social media is structured now, they're forcing you to see content for people that you don't even follow. And then you see some guys say, the more money a woman makes, the more masculine she becomes.
Well, and what I have to say as well, what I kind of don't like is you have a lot of very, very successful women, whether it's like a business they inherited, whether it's something they put together from scratch, it's almost like I feel that some of them are pressured to say something like, I run a multinational,
but I still watch my husband's undies.
If my husband wants food at 2:00 in the morning, I'm like, how are you going to do that? You have like a meeting with China at this time, and you're still, I'm like, it is actually fine to say that, no, I have a household. We have a household. If he needs this, that person can take care of it. Just like if I need something, but it's almost like, if you don't say that, you don't get that approval of she's still humble. She's humble.
I'm so sorry. I just feel like I remember when we just had the parenting episode, and there was I was talking to my baby when I just had my baby, and I was just like, you can be whatever you want. You can be the president of Nigeria if you want. And a dear relative, female, older relative, said, she can be the wife of the president. I said, no, she can be the president. So I mean, with love, I try as much as possible to correct certain things with love and with respect, to say, I know that maybe the way you grew up or the era you grew up in, that was the height. Oh, first lady. Why can't she be the president?
Yeah.
Do you understand? So yes, please go ahead.
No, I mean, even the example you gave earlier around how you were growing up and, you were the one doing the cooking, etc. There's a ripple effect of that. So when we see girls doing better in school than boys, it's because they've been taught skills around multitasking. They have a kind of resilience that many of their male peers don't have. That's impacting boys too. So I keep saying these norms don't just harm women and girls, they harm boys and men. But part of what we talk about at the She Tank is what it looks like to reimagine gender futures. And for me, what that means is, how do we move past these conversations of who washes the plates, who gets to do this? What would our world look like if a couple is talking about, okay, right now you're the one doing this, how do I support you? Right now you're the one doing this, how do I support you? What would our world look like if you say, you know what, I like to cook, you like to clean, you like to clean, I like to cook. I want to be a doctor. I want to be a lawyer. Like, I think our conversations would be so much more interesting, which is why I find the patriarchal conversations very boring, because they're so reductive. They force all of us into this box, but we were all, and this comes back to my faith, I think God made all of us with different gifts, with different skills, with different abilities. God gives us different seasons. There are seasons when you're going to be up in your career, when you're going to be making money. There are seasons when you will not be. And what would our world look like if we treated each other as humans instead of these very limited gender boxes that we check ourselves into?
Love that.
That is very, very, very impressive. But I'm like, Nigeria.
You're like, but
Nigeria.
Honestly, I'm giving up a little bit sometimes.
No, you can't give up.
Sometimes I get discouraged. I was saying that, like, doing this work on the continent, because I've spent the last few years, so I ran a campaign globally across 9 countries, and I've spent the last 2 years doing work on the continent. And sometimes it's discouraging to see how regressive certain norms are, and that even women, I think, even promote these norms more than men. It feels difficult sometimes.
Can I be,
Yes.
Is this being devil's advocate or whatever? So what if I told you that it's not even just in Africa? Like,
it's not.
It's
right.
all over the world.
No, the trad wives movement. Yeah, all of it.
But do you know so this is the problem I have with the trad wives. Let me sit.
She's sitting up.
You've been activated.
So,
Lord.
This is the problem I have with that whole trad wife thing, right?
Yeah.
So you are basically saying, I love to stay at home, I love to cook. Let me stress that I'm not against. I actually like cooking when I want to. I like cooking. I don't like cooking every day. But you're saying I'm staying at home, I'm looking after the kids, I'm making food for the family. But guess what? You're a content creator, you're a businesswoman.
You're making money.
You're making money.
Yeah.
No, you're telling, because this whole trad wives thing, you have there's so many followers. But I'm like, you are a businesswoman because you're creating this content, you're being paid by YouTube or whoever
You're
is
a
like,
businesswoman, yeah.
You're a businesswoman. So how dare you say that I'm doing this, but no, you should just stay at home and no, don't be a content creator. Don't do all of that. So it blows my mind when I see this. And what is scary is how gullible some people are.
Yeah.
How gullible some people are. And I think that is why I think because I blocked it out. Yeah. So all this, what is it called? Red cell content.
Red pill, yeah.
Red pill and incel content. I was just like, people don't really believe that until I saw this. There's this program that I think it's about to start in the UK, and basically it features like a very popular actor that was he's like, I think in one of the big soap operas. So he's going around speaking to young boys in schools, just getting an idea of like what they think. Yeah. And I heard some of what they said, and I was just like, we're in trouble.
Wow. What countries?
This is in the UK.
Okay.
And he was speaking to these boys, and they were talking about what their thoughts were like, what their thoughts on, gender equality and everything, men and women, and what their friends thought. And one boy said that he has friends that are like, if they're dealing with a female teacher, like, I'm not listening to a woman. Why can a woman tell me what to do? And I'm like, this is your teacher in school. And I was just like, this is worse than when I was growing up.
And you're so right to say, and I'm glad that you checked it, is it's not just Africa. It's a global problem. It is in fact, some of the most regressive norms around gender are in the US, are in the UK, are in Europe. So you're absolutely right. I think we're more straightforward with it on the continent. So we just say it as it is. Like, I was running a course for this gender equality theology framework that I developed in Kenya recently. And someone said, but why is patriarchy wrong? Now, the difference is most people would not ask that question in certain countries, even though they believe it. But I think here we have more of a honesty and directness about it. So I hear you. But with the trad wives thing, I too want to say that I support every woman's choice. I really do. I have many women I love and respect who want to stay at home and be, and I think that that's beautiful. I think that is truly beautiful if that is the choice. My thing is always
that is your well-informed choice.
Your choice. And even people like Nara Smith, who people say is the trad wife, she said to everyone, don't call me a trad wife. Like she said, I am not a trad wife. She said, I began making food from scratch because I had eczema and I had all these things and my husband helps with this and I do this and I like to cook. And she's a businesswoman. She's making a high concept fashion show for TikTok, like a high concept fashion cooking show for TikTok. So she's a businesswoman too. And so I hear you though that many people are very gullible. I don't know that we're asking enough questions. I wish we were asking more questions and having more conversations. So thank you all for having me here to have this conversation, because it's not an easy conversation to have.
You're gonna get dragged.
I know.
Have you been dragged by Nigerian Twitter before?
I have never been dragged. Wait, let me think about that. Have I been dragged? No, I haven't been dragged. Okay, tell me.
Okay, so
do I need to go deactivate?
So for me, there was, I can't even remember what sometimes I tweet something, and then I go about my day and I don't open Twitter. And there was something that I tweeted a while ago, and then I opened Twitter and it basically said, your tweet is getting way more responses than before. And I was just like, what did I tweet? And then I looked and I was like, oh my gosh. So let me ink it here and let me actually say this isn't like my first experience, but one of the first experiences, this is like sort of earlier on in my career. I used to write, I had a column on Bella Ninja called Toolz's Thoughts. And I wrote an article basically about, because I was feeling the pressure, because I moved in 2009. I was feeling like the pressure of, when are you going to get married? Interesting. It was actually my mom more than my dad. My dad, I don't know if he actually ever said that, but it was my mom that was, like, when are you going to get married? And I just talked about the why marriage should not be your ultimate goal. And I remember I'd gone to like a wedding. I'd gone to a wedding and so this lady, she was a doctor and this was in the UK. So she's getting married and she had gotten to a certain stage in her mid-30s where her family were like, where's we need to get somebody for you. So this guy ended up like coming to marry her, and during their wedding, you're expecting a speech of, oh my gosh, my life partner, blah, blah, blah. And this guy was like, and the first time I applied for visa and they did not give me this visa. But so basically he was talking about how happy he was that he was able to get the visa to come to the UK to marry her. And I'm like, this is a doctor, this is a GP, this is like a proper. So I basically was talking about how marriage should not be like, it should be part of your goals, but it shouldn't be I've made your full
identity.
And I talked about the fact that, what's her name? Ellen Sirleaf
Johnson.
Yes, Johnson. She got married before she became president.
Oh, I didn't know that.
She got married. I think she even got married and divorced or whatever. So I was like, imagine if she'd got married and she's like, well, that's my goal. I'm married, I'm done. And the way I got dragged, I was like, I had to read it like, did I say something bad? And a lot of people are like, you're telling women not to get married. And I'm like, no, I said get married, but it should not be like your only goal. It shouldn't be your main goal. Like somebody called me like, what's it called?
Everything but a child of God.
No, somebody called me like a messenger from the devil.
No.
I was like, I've said
devil
long. I've said worse things. So yeah, dragging is, sometimes you'll see like a tweet that's like funny. You're like, oh, that's actually funny.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Do you know what? I lived so much of my life going by respectability politics. And kind of what you mentioned. I grew up a pastor's daughter. I was a virgin when I got married. I went to Christian schools. I got straight A's. I did all the things. And I realized a few things. A lot of women who live these lives are miserable. And being a pastor's daughter, I have seen a lot. People are living very miserable lives. Although it is a lot of performance. I was miserable in many ways, living this life that felt perfect on the outside, but wasn't true to who I am. And I made a decision. I was like, I'm done. I saw many women who played by patriarchy's rules, and patriarchy will reward you until you veer a little bit. Mm-hmm. So I have aunties who gave up their careers and I have one aunt who's one of my favorite people in the whole world, gave up her whole life for this man. And then one day he wakes up and says, but why are you not even contributing to the household? You made her not work. You told her not to work. Mm. And she's given 20 years of her life or more.
My mouth open
to you. And I saw what happened when she began to make choices for herself, how the very communities that had said, oh, this is like the icon, the woman who was sacrificed this, because we love stories of women's sacrifice.
And suffer.
And suffering. We glorify suffering. And I really resist even the female pastors who give us trauma-informed theology and glorify sacrifice and suffering, because I believe that Christ came that we may have life and have life abundantly. Mm-hmm. But I saw what that does. It doesn't end well for everyone. Like it's yeah.
You know that song, Sweet Mother, I never forget you. I said, never, I told my brother, never ever play it at your wedding because there's so much more than what your mother sacrificed for you. Yeah. She's a whole human being. She's funny. She's smart. She's this, she's that. I told my spouse, if you ever have to make a speech about me, do not make it a speech about what I do for you.
I'm trying to contain
what
myself.
am I outside? What am I outside of suffering and sacrifice? Yeah. And all those, the memes and the pictures online where it's like, oh, a woman, she suffers.
We love it.
Do not add womanhood and suffering together. So why?
Okay.
Must I suffer?
Let me, reel myself in. No, what you said, I said that when, you every now and then you see like a clip online where this guy is doing his 60th or 70th birthday, and he's there and he takes the microphone and he's like, and this woman, and she suffered and she did this, but she stopped by me and she's sitting there. And I'm just like, how is she winning? How is she winning? But the story that you said, there's so many stories, and some of them are very close to home. I know somebody that they hired this person as nanny. She was fantastic for the family. They loved her. She was with them for years, and they wanted to travel. And she didn't have a passport. So they were like, well, you've been with us for a while. We trust you and everything. So they wanted to get her a passport. And her husband said no. Husband said no. And because he's like, how can you travel before me? So banned her from, getting a passport. And I was just like, that just like blew my mind, because I was thinking, you're actually stopping her from getting further opportunities. Yeah. Because this could...
And your family, because it could benefit your family and you too.
Yeah, but it was just like, you can't travel before me. Oh, now you be thinking you're this. So it's quite scary when you hear these stories. Yeah. And I'm like, you are indirectly, not even indirectly, you're directly doing a massive disservice for yourself as well. Yeah. So it's going to be... I'd love to know how you are going to carry this conversation to like the grassroots, how you're going to, make sure that it's understood, like what your, the messages that you're putting out there are understood in different levels throughout our society.
So I really believe in social impact work, that all of us have our lane. And for me, the lane that I stick in is influencing the influencers. It's influencing the thought leaders. I'm not a grassroots girly. I think there's so many NGOs that are doing fantastic work at the grassroots level. What I want to do is be a part of creating thought leadership, a part of creating these conversations. And then hopefully people take that, because there's so many people who are doing fantastic work, whether it's providing services, whether it's going into schools. If I can give those people the data the information, the content to do their work, for me, that's what success looks like. So for example, with Her Money, Her Power, I was very clear, we're not providing financial services, but we're providing a narrative shift, hopefully.
Knowledge.
And then people can then take that and do their work. And I really believe that we have a continuum. And this is part of like also like my career kind of perspective is don't try to do everything. I'm very clear on my lane, and my lane is this social change through thought leadership, through ideas, through disrupting narratives.
Okay. So hopefully your workbook will be used in schools.
Yes, I hope so. I hope my workbook will be used in schools. What this workbook does is it gives you all you need to know how you can support gender equality as a Christian. So we go from everything from how the Bible was formed, the history of the Bible, how you can read the Bible through a lens of gender equality. We talk about stories of women in the Bible from Eve, because Eve's story has been used for so much harm.
Villainized.
She's been villainized. We talk about texts of terror, some of the texts in the Bible that are difficult, women getting raped, women getting killed. We explore what that means and how can we use those stories to inform our justice work. We talk about Paul, so everything about submission and headship and his context that he was writing in. And then we talk about Jesus finally, and how for me, Jesus is the framework for equality in so many ways. And so many of us worship religion more than we worship Christ. But Christ for me is where it starts and where it ends.
Yeah.
I love
we
that.
talked about that during our religion episode.
Yeah.
But
We got dragged.
Did you get dragged for that?
Oh,
too?
we got
I'm
dragged
getting
for
scared
the-
about this dragging
so let me
thing.
make you laugh, right? So, okay, inside, for those of you who watch the show, and you might notice that sometimes our makeup and our hair is the same. So that day we shot 2 episodes. The first episode was about...
Why are you going to tell them that?
It's okay. The first episode, this economy, you want me to be showing up here with different hair and makeup. So the first episode, we talked about fashion, and we had a designer here, a stylist here, and people were like, "Oh, we love your hair, we love your makeup, we love your this." And then we went to change clothes and came back to talk about religion. Look at their wig self, look like drag queens. I was
It
like,
got
but it's the
personal.
same cool, it's the same wig you were
it
praising. And then it was just like, oh, because I touched your beloved pastor. Because the topic was your pastor is a thief.
And I also want to say that I feel sometimes those of us who are quote unquote educated elite, whatever, we also don't pay attention to the good that churches do in communities.
Okay. Yes.
Because I have seen many churches do so much good, whether it's paying school fees, whether it's creating money for, like my church, for example, they fund widows every month. They give tuition to people. And I don't think we talk about those stories enough. I think the negative stories get the big, and there's a lot of it. And I don't want to discount that. I have a very big problem with how religion functions around the world.
Yeah.
Prosperity gospel, all of it. I have lots of problems with that. But I also want to make sure that we don't do the single story thing where we also forget the good that so many churches do in communities.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
We could spend another hour or two, talking about this. I'm particularly interested to see how your conversation about Jesus and feminism is going to be received.
Yeah.
I want to. You know what we should do?
What?
Twitter Live.
Girl, you
Twitter
made me
Live.
scared of Twitter now.
Well, you can. See, you know what? When you've been dragged on Twitter, right?
It's like you get over it.
It's like a baptism of fire.
Okay, got you.
Because you get dragged,
Yeah.
and then you're like, wow, oh my god,
and you
wow.
live, you don't die.
And then you wake up the next day, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm still okay.
Do you know what? My mom gets dragged every other couple of weeks, and she doesn't care.
So yeah,
She does not care. So I hear you.
So you're gonna have people that are very, very upset.
Yeah.
But then you're going to have people that are like, let me just check what she said.
Yeah.
Let me just, and I think,
And that for me
think
is the goal.
These conversations are very, very, very important.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see mentality because, and I hope a lot of guys actually watch this.
I hope so too.
Not just guys, but many guys,
Yeah.
just so they have access to certain conversations, because I'm sure there are going to be some episodes that talk about things that maybe a certain person has never.
One episode talks
openly
about polyamory.
Love that.
Yeah, like everything, religion, faith, fatherhood. It's so diverse.
Oh gosh, I thought she was going to say my trigger word.
What's your trigger word?
I have lots.
Okay.
Polygamy is one of my trigger words.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm
Did you
from
grow up in a
polygamous-
polygamous? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So
Fair.
I'm from a traditional. My father, God rest his soul, was a traditional leader. So when it comes about when you're talking about feminism as well, I grew up thinking that women here, men are, a lot of the things, a lot of the traditions, it was always men.
Yeah.
And my dad, I wouldn't say I held it against him because that's all he knew.
Yeah.
But every now and then he would say, men don't usually do this, but if there's somebody that can do it, it's you. So that literally was used to fuel me. But then it was still a case of, okay, the sons get this and, and the daughters are like looked at differently.
Yeah.
And I remember one time he actually said this, he said that he didn't want to leave property in his daughter's names because when they get married and everything. And I was just like, give me my inheritance.
Did you get it? Did you get the property?
I mean, yes, but
okay,
but so guys always like the sons always got more.
Yeah.
So it was something that it was interesting, and I still don't understand it, but it is what it is. So best of luck with everything. You have a mammoth task in front of you.
I know, but
sometimes I'm just like, why is this the path I chose?
No, but it's
there could have been easier. I'm a lawyer. I could have just worked my firm job and kept it moving. But here we are.
It's definitely going to change the minds, and I think that's important.
Yeah,
I think it might not. You're going to face
everybody,
some resistance,
but
yes.
definitely, do a mind, give some people a mind shift and some things to think about. So well done, and thank you,
and thank you for having me. And I think you both represent something that is powerful, which is you can be many things.
Yeah.
You can be serious, you can be silly, you can be all of it. I think that's part of the work of liberation. It is.
And just before you leave, when does Mentality drop?
The first episode of Mentality was last Friday. If you haven't watched it, please do. I think you're going to really enjoy it. It's going to be on Ebuka's YouTube channels and everywhere you get podcasts.
Yes. And give feedback as well. Give feedback. Very, very important. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right.
Thank you for having me. This was fun.
So much.
Thank you.
Wasn't that bad?
No, this was good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome to Money Zone, brought to you by Money Points. Before we begin, because today we're going to do Ask Money Points. Basically, it's just questions that some of you have for Money Points, and then we'll read out the answers they sent to us. But before we start that, make sure you get your device, whatever device you're using, download the Money Points app. Very important. It will save your life, I'm telling you, because it is banking with no stress. And if you're a business owner, there's so many more perks on there. They can help you complete your CAC documentation. They can help you get loans, help you do so many things. You can also pay for your utilities, pay for your what they call them now, PHC or whatever, it's AKDC bill, pay for your cable bill if you watch television, and so much more. So make sure you do it. Now, the first question.
Okay, so before I get into the first question, do you remember that Money Points, they are fast, reliable, easy to use. So those are, if you want that with your banking situation, then make sure you download the Money Point app. Okay, all right. Lately, I have seen people online say that investing in stocks or mutual funds is better than keeping your money in the bank. What is your take on this? So this is the first question for Ask Money Point, and this is the answer that our good friends at Money Point have given us. That's a very good question. Here's what I think. When it comes to where you keep your money, your choice depends mainly on your goal for the money. For example, if you're setting money aside for daily expenses and living costs, saving plans, stocks, or other forms of investment won't be ideal. That's money you should keep in a reliable bank like Money Point. But if you're thinking, I want my money to work for me, then a savings plan with an interest rate that can compete with mutual fund or money market rates isn't a bad idea. Take Money Point savings plan, for instance. You can earn up to 18% annually.
Wow.
That's a low risk, but guaranteed return you might not get with stocks or mutual or market funds. So the real question is, what are you setting money aside for? For rainy days or future investments, open a Money Point savings plan. For daily expenses, use a Money Point personal account.
That's great. Solid advice. 18%?
18%,
I love that.
pretty decent. Better than just leaving your money in the bank.
I know, under your mattress. Second question is, some people say, I'll start saving when I earn more. Would you advise anyone who isn't earning much to save still? And this is their answer. They said, here's the truth. Saving isn't about how much you earn. It's about building the habit. If you can't save 1,000 naira when you're earning 10,000 naira, it'll be even harder to save 100,000 naira when you start earning 1 million naira naira. Now, the goal isn't the amount, it's consistency. So even if it's 500 naira or 1,000 naira, put it aside in a plan that earns interest. For example, like money point savings. Over time, that small amount grows and builds discipline. So yes, even when you're not earning big, you can still save small. It's not about what you have, it's about what you do with what you have. You can easily automate your savings with a money point savings plan. So even more ways for you to use money point to grow your wealth. All right. So make sure you download that app, ladies and gentlemen, and let it help your life. I'm telling you, imagine if you were, there's 365 days in a year. Mm-hmm. So imagine if you were saving 1,000 naira a day. At the end of the year, you have 365 or 366, depending on the year, to just it's to some people like Bola Tools. Yeah, it's not a you know, you can't even buy her a wig. But you can still, you know, she likes to go to the restaurants to eat seafood pasta and salmon and things like that.
Or lobster.
At least you get to something, don't you think?
Yes, it was.
Even if it's yaring.
Don't knock my, you know.
No, it's okay to be a soft life, babe. It's okay.
Yes. I'm a soft life advocate.
Yeah.
All right. So if, like me, you're a soft life advocate and you want things to just be easier with your banking, with life in general, then make sure you check out Money Point. On that note,
we want to say thank you so much. Shout out to OffAir gang. Yes, shout out to Blessing for stopping by. I really am looking forward to seeing more from her.
Yeah.
I think it's, you know, it's not easy like you pointed out. I wish her all the best. And make sure you check out Mentality.
Yep, absolutely. And have a fantastic week. We did good.
We did good today.
I think we're very good this episode. We didn't offend anyone.